Echo, do you have anything else to add right now?
No, man. Oh, yeah, actually I do. And I heard you mention this before where you're talking about in Ramadi where, the sun comes up and you say you hear the call to prayer. I know what that is, but what does that sound like? What is the call to prayer?
You know what?
Is it a person?
It is a person. It's a person on a loudspeaker, right? So each mosque has a minaret, which is a tower, and they generally have a loudspeaker, and so you've got I forget what the title is in the Islamic world. There's a specific title for the prayer caller that's going to get up and sing this prayer. But you just hear these speakers going off all over the city.
And it's like a chant kind of.
Yeah, they sing. They're singing.
It's a song.
Oh dang! Okay.
It's so it's something that when you hear that, so there'll be one early in the morning, so like before the sun comes up, and we had to be in place. You're going in enemy territory. You had to be in the building, locked down, ready to go, because as soon as the call to prayer goes down, that the city's going to start awakening. People are going to start coming out of their houses, and cars starting up, and people moving around, and the sun's going to come up pretty soon. And so there's 5 of those throughout the day. That would be you have to hear that morning call to prayer was like, we're gonna get some.
Yeah, because the enemy in Ramadi for the most part didn't operate at nighttime because we had all the advantages of night vision and everything else. So they operated during the day. So the indicator that the day was starting is the first morning call to prayer, and when you'd hear it, you'd know.
Man, that's so crazy how it's like this official beginning of a day. That's like the official fucking commencement of the day. Isn't that crazy?
I guess you could think it's crazy.
I mean, we have that individually, your alarm clock or your whatever, but like for everybody, it's crazy.
That's one of the things that makes it so crazy is that it is the whole city
every day.
Because actually this was funny. At one point they said, "Hey, you weren't allowed." Then what they said, we weren't allowed to go within a block of a mosque or something like that. And there's so many mosques in Ramadi. Yeah. We just showed them a map and we're like, okay, so you don't want us to do anything because if we can't go within 2 blocks of a mosque or whatever the rule that they try to throw at us, said, so you don't want us to do anything else on this deployment because here's a mosque, here's a mosque, here's a mosque, here's a mosque. And by the way, Intel says this mosque is okay, local mosque. Intel says this one's bad, this one's good. So we had, different because someone's the mosque, some of the neighbors are saying, "Oh, great, it's called a prayer. We're ready to start a beautiful day." Some of the people, the smaller group of people, was saying, "Oh, here's the call to prayer. Let's go and attack Americans and torture the local populace." So,
and unfortunately, because the mosques were protected, and we had to get massive approvals all the way up to like the highest levels to be able to enter the mosque. The bad guys knew that, and they'd use those mosques to stage attacks out of, and they'd stockpile weapons and ammunition and that stuff there. So the bad guys figured it out. It was not good.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy the little details, though. You know what I mean? That I always hear from like you guys, just the little details, stuff that you don't necessarily think about. You only think about, the gunfights and like all this stuff, but just those little details kind of makes it real, man. It's crazy.
Any other questions, Echo Charles, or comments?
No.
Sorry.
Very good to see Leif again. That's it.
Good. Leif, you got anything else, brother?
Yeah, just great to be back on here with you guys again. It's awesome thinking back to the podcast 11. I was the first guest, and just getting this thing up and running. And to see the reach that it's had, as the expansion and and where we're sitting today, versus where it was then. The third time I'm back on, it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome to see that. And so many people. I've been sitting in jiu-jitsu classes before, and someone hears me talk, and like, "What are you, Leif Babbitt?" I guess it's the raspy voice is giving me away. But they're like, "I started training jiu-jitsu because of the Jocko Podcast," and I've had that happen multiple times. Whether in jiu-jitsu class or meeting someone, randomly in an airport or those kind of things, and it's just awesome. It's awesome to see troopers all over the world, all over the place getting after it, through and loyal listeners to Jocko Podcast and passing that on to others.
Echo asked me that because we get a lot of people that on social media, they say, "Hey, I just enlisted in the Army. I just listened to the Marine Corps. I'm going to OCS." A lot of people, thanks for pushing me that way or whatever. And Echo says, like, hey, do you think, like, how many people do you think have actually joined the military because of the podcast? And I said, I don't know what that number looks like, but there's the amount of people that have started jiu-jitsu because of the podcast is a big number. It's a big number, which is awesome because obviously jiu-jitsu is really good for you.
I think the number of people joining the military is probably substantial as well. In fact, I was just talking to a young lady last night at the event we were speaking at who came up to me and said, hey, I'm thinking about joining the Navy. And, had said she just started listening to the Jocko podcast. I think those are very much related. I told her to go buy a copy of Extreme Ownership and, to learn from that and take ownership of everything in the world. She was going to do well. So
that's awesome.
She was an EMT and wanted to be a Navy corpsman. So I think so many people from all walks of life influenced for good by the Jocko podcast. So.
I think so.
It's definitely awesome for us to be a part of it and get all that feedback all the time. And of course, there's no coincidence to the fact that you were the first guest on here, obviously. I just did an Echo escalation.
That was a good
totally
one.
Was.
Yeah.
Echo, you're having influence in the world. I like that.
Yeah, finally in life.
I hope there's not someone out there that doesn't like it and blames you and then goes on a crazy like stalker mission to eliminate you from the world.
Yeah, dang.
Luckily, he's pretty good at jiu-jitsu, so I think he can take care of him. And he's got a lot of knives and hatchets. So
Nice. Any other closers?
Yeah, I was just thinking. We were having that conversation yesterday, and as a dad of young kids, I've got a toddler and a baby, and I know Echo, you got young kids as well, just thinking about it can be. All you parents out there know what I'm talking about, right? It can be exhausting. We've gone through a time, it's winter time. You got kids who've got colds and they're sick and they're waking up multiple times a night, cutting into my 4:45 club workouts, and it's easy to when my little baby girl crawls around the floor, she just tries to eat everything, picks up the choking hazards and shoves them around. And you got to keep an eye on him constantly, And my son is just a wild man. He'll just no fear of anything. I'm learning that he's just like me, and I realize what my parents actually put up with. But he takes off running for the most dangerous thing within a mile radius, and he just without looking back and without heeding any warning or command to stop from me whatsoever. So it is full time, and I'm in the game all the time, and it can be exhausting. It can be. It's something that you can think, oh man, I just can't wait till they get a little bit older, and I don't have to, I can tell him to stop, or he knows not to run in the street, or my daughter's not choking on something she, and the reality is, just being out here with Jocko and seeing his kids, and your oldest daughter's about to graduate now from high school, which is amazing to me because when I left, San Diego here, your kids, they were kids, they were little, and to watch them grow up into teenagers now. And, when we first met, we started working together with Tassie and Bruiser. They were really little, your youngest hadn't even been born, and your son was just a baby.
It's like 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah. And so I realized it doesn't seem like I left the Navy that long ago. It'll be 6 years this summer. And I realize that time has flown by like that. It has just gone by like that. And so seeing that, and seeing your kids now, I got to take a step back. The detachment that we always talk about, right? To be able to see with a bigger perspective and think these moments, right? They're awesome. And I got to relish every nanosecond of them because my kids are going to grow up and they're going to be teenagers and they're going to graduate from high school and they're going to go off. And I got to rest, for me and my wife, we got to cherish those moments. And people tell you that, but you still don't even embrace it. You still if I can just get to this level.
You're worried about the diaper, the dirty diaper and the applesauce on the floor.
Exactly. And, or my kid just went through my drawer and threw everything out. Now I got to clean that up, or we're trying to get out the door. So I think, for me, it's a great recognition of that those moments are fleeting and they're precious, and you got to enjoy every second of that. So for you parents out there listening to this, if you're in that boat with me, detach, take a step back, think about how wonderful those moments are, and just relish it, relish every moment, and don't let yourself get flustered. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed. if your kid's getting up at 4:30 in the morning, maybe it's time to back it up to 0300 Club. But embrace every second of that as a parent, and cherish those moments, because those are the most important things of all.
Brad, I'll give you I'll give a small tip that helped me with that. You know, when like certain things get overwhelming, you're trying to do this and they're crying, and then the other one's doing something, and you're like, you kind of want to yell at them, be like, hey, I need a minute or something. But they're like, kids are like, a minute? Like, what does that even mean, kind of thing? They don't know. So the tip there is, anytime you feel it bubbling up, like you're getting frustrated, understand that you're at that moment making it about yourself. And it's not about yourself. You know, it's about and you can look at it, I'm going to make it about the mission, or I'm going to make it about these kids. Make it about something other than yourself, and you won't be frustrated anymore. I'm telling you, anytime you're like, oh, I've been up all night, this baby's been crying away, you're just making it about yourself right now. You poor parent, you know. Meanwhile, everyone, you know how many parents have been through the exact same thing? You're making it about yourself right now. You're feeling sorry or whatever, you know. Just don't make it about yourself, and know that that's what you're doing if you feel that, and then it's solved.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Check the ego. It's not about
essentially,
you. It's about the mission.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about you right now.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's great advice, Leif. And I haven't seen my kids grow up and see them about to leave the nest, as they say. Yeah, embrace that whole time. And thanks, obviously, for coming on again. I'm sure this won't be the last time, and we'll do it again. And everyone else out there that's listening, thank you all, especially the military personnel across the globe right now. By the way, they're not getting to enjoy those moments with their family. They're out there in harm's way, standing the watch for us. So thank you to all of you, to the police and law enforcement. Stay proactive and aggressive in your fight against crime, and stay safe out in the streets. And thank you all for keeping our streets safe, and the firefighters and the EMTs, and again, who we call and we thank only when we need you. Thanks for being there, waiting to help us when we need it. And to the rest of you out there doing what you're doing, as you go out there and do it, don't do it easy. Don't take it easy. And if someone says to you, take it easy, tell them no. Tell them you aren't going to take it easy. Tell them you're going to go hard as you can. Tell them you're going to push and grind and fight and work as hard as you can until you have nothing left. And then turn around and walk away from that person and go do just that, and do it hard. And so, until next time, this is Leif and Echo and Jocko.